mean, how big is this thing? This is like 20 stories up here. This is like a 10-story building coming out of the sky and catching it. Oh, they call it the booster. This is the booster. You're telling me that's 200, 300 feet? No way. So you're telling me this is like a 50, 60-story building coming out of the sky. The tallest skyscrapers in Manhattan are about this tall. I could imagine Elon, like there's a bunch of engineers sitting there. They're like, we don't know how to do this, Elon. He's like, chopsticks. They're like, huh? Chopsticks. We're gonna use chopsticks. What if you like made like, he's like, I don't know, 40-foot chopsticks, or like 40-story chopsticks, and they just like chopsticked it. No way, bro. No way it worked, bruh. He's building rockets to nowhere, folks. Rockets to nowhere. Favorite fictional book? I don't know. I mean, Shakespeare, I guess, but those are plays. What do you want? This guy wants me to look at Stellantis so bad he's gonna have a heart attack. You know what? I'm bored. I don't really look at cars. It's kind of a terrible industry. Terrible doesn't mean it's a bad stock. Yeah, I mean, if earnings are disappearing for this company, so we don't know if they can even sustainably be profitable. I think that's the fear here. They might have used to make money. Look how fast earnings are dropping. Earnings might be zero at this rate. And year over year, earnings dropped 14%. It's like free fall. Gross margin went from 22% to 18%. If that goes to 15%, it's over. There's no profits to speak of. So the PE is only good if the E is stable. If the E is disappearing, that PE doesn't make a difference. Cash flow is negative. What earnings? You told me that there would be earnings. I was told there'd be earnings. Earnings are negative. Where are the earnings? Negative cash flow. Margin compression. I love how they're paying a dividend with negative cash flow. I'd cancel a dividend too. At least revenue's growing. Or was, I guess. I don't know too much about Red Mile. I think they just hit a big lick on Scholar Rock, right? Okay, so I see what you're saying. Like, they've had regular cash flow 10 billion to 11 billion, 12 billion. Pretty regular flow, a very regular flow, you know? Heavy flow of cash flow. Nah, I don't think it's a short. I'm just not sure it's a long. You'd be crazy to short this. Don't worry about the dividend. Just worry about who did they buy in 2020, 2021? They bought Fiat. I thought they did that a while back. I gotta say, I understand the long thesis. It's pretty clear. There's no doubt about that. Oh yeah, there it is. I was right. It's Peugeot. We would like to buy Peugeot. Mon ami. Let us merge and take the Americans on. We will be victorious. No, I mean, I like it. I like it. It is probably long, I have to admit. I wouldn't necessarily think about it as 2 times earnings. I'd maybe try to do something a little more complex than that mentally, but 10 minutes of looking at it, I see what you see. I just don't know who management is. Management has to deliver the win here, and it's not going to be easy. Not a bad pick. I don't know if cars have to be electric in Europe. If I had to own an auto stock, it'd probably be this one. Other than, of course, 𝗕𝗫𝗓. I'm not putting it high on the conviction scale for a lot of reasons. I mean, 1, I don't really know the auto business. 2, I don't know who management is here. Yeah, I just don't know. I have to look at all the other stocks, Porsche, and Volkswagen, and Toyota, and BYD. Yeah, I mean, it could take 2 or 3 years, but it'll probably double. I would not be surprised at all if you hit the lick on this one. It's amazing to see the numbers. The numbers are what they are. You know, you can't really deny that. I mean, people must hate the management. Shareholders must hate the management or don't trust the management because it's a discounted valuation. Or there's an assumption they're just going to lose a fortune or Something's going on there. It's not that clean. But even when things are not that clean, they tend to have a way of working out. So unless they really fumble the bag bad, and you can take the risk that they're going to fumble the bag bad, yeah, it should be fine. They would have to fumble the bag as hard as bags have ever been fumbled. Which for a European car company, they might just fumble the bag, you know. I'm talking about Peugeot here. They can't be any worse than American car companies, am I right? Yeah, I haven't looked at Mercedes in great detail. I only look at it because of Tesla. And I don't, you know it that well. Looks like they're, solid competitor to Tesla. Yeah, no, we're definitely adding all that stuff, Jason. 100%. I don't drive at all, so it hurts my ability to look at cars. But yeah, I don't know too much about cars. Carvana's doing something weird. We should look at that, shouldn't we? Tree. No. Carvana was, something's up with Carvana. Nobody knows what it is. Some suspicions around that company. Yeah, exactly. I think it's funny because the VCs don't really understand the Bloomberg business model. They think it's a network effect or something like that. It's like, bro, it's an IDE for traders. That's all it is. It's IDE / command line for traders. Look, we're not as smart as you programmers, but it's what we do, okay? Yeah, the only tricky thing about building something like that is just data management and making sure the data is accurate and just like really, really close attention to detail. Just because they become free doesn't mean they're not valuable. It's like kind of like if you could go back in time to when IDEs did cost money. Microsoft even would make linkers and compilers. So like when technology gets democratized, the prices go down. But financial information software is still in that state, which, you can think about the 80s and 90s when Borland charged money for Turbo Pascal. Eventually, IDEs and compilers and linkers became free, but they weren't always free. That's why when FreeBSD came out, it's obviously OS, you had to specify free in the name. Back in my day, FreeBSD was a revolution. We used to have timeshare software. What you guys do on the cloud, that's timeshare too. It's just a new timeshare. We're not quite ready yet to fully replace Bloomberg, but we're getting there. We still have some time, and that's why the product's $60. If it's a full-on replacement for Bloomberg, then it wouldn't be $60. But we want to make it so that everybody can afford it. I actually hope to lower the price for the average person and raise it for institutions, because most average people are not looking at complicated APIs. They're looking at things like stock prices, and they don't really need to spend anything, to be honest. It should be close to free for those users, maybe 10, 20 bucks. But if you want to look at bonds and CDS and all that stuff, and really like every news source known to man, then yeah, maybe you should be spending more money. But I think for the average Joe who's just, has a stock portfolio, my goal is to get it to as little as possible, because if you do, like if you're on AWS, you know that there's a fairly generous free tier. Then the free tier expires and your credit card starts paying. But like you can stop paying anytime you want, and you still have access to your services. So I really like that approach, and it's never really been done before. Almost every service in this space is just pay this much per month and that's it, end of story. It doesn't really make sense. So I'm looking forward to changing the whole dynamic there and making it more of a usage-based system like AWS. So this has to be the hottest restaurant stock in the world, right? Which is like a misnomer. That's why the stock's up so much. This is a Roadrunner stock. As long as the growth keeps going, just don't look down. It's so expensive, but it's growing so fast that people don't care. Yeah, but it's growing really fast. So like 30 times. Oh, 2032? 2032? Did you say 2032? I think I have to look at Chipotle to understand this one better. We got pita chips, feta cheese. I like feta. Do you have an example? Do you have a name visible ID of one of these firms? I don't know better than you, Sardine. I really don't. Money laundering? It's a restaurant. I mean, I think you got to understand everything. There's no reason why you would skimp out on understanding, you know? You should understand PK and PD and all that stuff, but you should understand markets as well. Markets are important. Okay, yeah, this is a crazy valuation. I thought you were kidding on the 2030. 30 times 2030. Earnings from a decade from now. I have to torture the numbers for it to make sense. I mean, if at any point in this 10-year expansion plan does sales stop growing, it's over. Stock gets killed. That's a short. Don't at me, bro. Only one Chipotle. Oh, they're gonna expand. It's just a question of when does the consumer say, eh. So DJT intraday chart, I can see a lot of chart systems don't have this, but I can see the pre-market intraday, which is very, very helpful. You need 24 hours of intraday. So should we short DJT? See if we can short a little DJT. What do you guys think? All right, what is PWR? Quanta Services, Power Infrastructure, big company. I've not done energy once in my life. There's no shares at all on Interactive, are you sure? I have not traded or even looked at Walgreens. NRSN, Neurosense Therapeutics, some extreme microcap. OpenBB is useless. Tesla down 7% is stupid. I mean, it's a momentum stock. It'll probably be very volatile, but I've done activist investing in pharma. Yeah, activist investing. I made a lot of enemies. Shorting, activist, you name it. I made some tweets about AMC the other day, and a bunch of AMC people reached out. It was really funny. They're like, no, you don't understand. AMC's going to make money. Oh, man, let's look at AMC real quick. I kept saying, like, AMC is down 95% from when I warned people about it. And they're like, yeah, but it's not bankrupt like you said it would be. With that malarkey. Come on, man. Come on, folks. Like, you said it would go bankrupt. You said they wouldn't be able to pay their debt. Lord forgive me. Let's see, the share count went up a little bit. Share count tripled. They're printing fake shares, you see. Apes strong together. We're still here. I don't know if we're going to get a short squeeze, but snapback, maybe. There's a really great book called, I want to create sales for him, but Don Steele, Gordon. It's called The Great Game. The Emergence of Wall Street. The Great Game. The Emergence of Wall Street as a World Power. It's a pretty good history of Wall Street. Really good book. Really, really good book. Must read. Money Masters. Yeah. That's a secret book. That's for the secret Shkreli group. Get out of here, Curly. Balance sheets for pharma is basically irrelevant other than cash. Cash, debt, maybe PP&E. Otherwise, it's all the same. You know, not every stock is going to go up in 5 minutes, right? Sometimes you have to wait a few weeks or months or years. So I'm willing to wait on CHEGG. Just because you don't like the stock pick doesn't mean I'm wrong. I'm going to be right. I already emailed the CEO. He didn't get back to me. That's a mistake. That's your first mistake. When Shkreli calls, you get back to him. Yes, I think CHEGG is long. Tesla is definitely long right now. I'm into Tesla at 222, so 218 is a pretty good price for Tesla. CHEGG is 0. The options they've given out are worth nothing. Could you imagine having CHEGG call stock options at $100 strike? Woohoo! Stock's at 2. It's trading at 1 times earnings, Daniel. There's this perception that AI is going to kill their business. Meanwhile, they have a partnership with OpenAI and Scale AI. Yeah, it was a 10 billion market cap at one point when they were growing. It was overhyped when they were growing, and now it's overfeared as they're shrinking. It's the nature of the market. Yeah, team is a nice little comeback story. Yeah, that's deep value, exactly. It's real deep value, not GameStop deep value. See, look how wrong Roaring Kitty was at GameStop. The operating business is literally worth nothing. If it wasn't for the memes And the new CEO, GameStop would be at 0 right now. Cheap customer acquisition. 8 million customers. Think about that. 8 million customers for 200 million. That alone, I mean, just $100 a customer is it's worth a lot more. It's a 4x just on that. Unless you're talking about OpenAI. OpenAI is a real business. OpenAI will go public, I think. Yeah. Correct, TM. Correct. You are alone in the world. I had to learn that the hard way, man. I thought all my friends and heroes would be there for me. Nope. It's a cold world. Bundle up. You ever have a backstabbing moment in your life? Yeah, about 100. Can't even count how many times I've been backstabbed. My back's all... People are vultures. It's all right, though. I got something for them. See, the big problem with trading waiting on something like ADMA is that it's a good trade in principle, but it ties up capital. We want to put our capital in other more productive things. Like Tesla looks like it's bouncing a little bit. Yeah, a lot of Tesla's big plans are many years away, which is fine. Wall Street fine and fine for running your business are two different things. Wall Street doesn't always see the same timeline, and Wall Street's sort of trading on. When it rallies, it's going to be up like 5 or 6%, just 2 days in a row or something. Half of us are going to bail out on the first day. And I don't think it'll be 2 weeks. I'm out on Thursday no matter what. That's my trading strat. If I can't get out in a week with a profit, I just get out at a loss. Can't marry a stock. You can be wrong sometimes, it's okay, but you can't just sit there and don't marry any stock unless you work there. Well, you've got married to a winner, 𝗕𝗢𝗢𝗏. You married Sydney Sweeney or Anna Kendrick. Can't believe people think Anna Kendrick is mid. It's my wifey. I theoretically could get a date with her, but I would have to go to LA. Yeah, Infinite Risk is right. Buffett and Munger, if they started today, they'd be just as successful, I think. Okay, this guy's asked for ELF 100 times. What am I doing looking at a beauty company, but I'll do it. So that's consumer non-durable, right? ELF Beauty, right? Oh, this is a big company. It's about $6 billion market cap. No cash or debt difference. Small amount of net debt. So 6.5 billion EV. High gross margins. It's like makeup is like pharmaceutical gross margins. I always should have gotten into that business. It's chemicals, right? 475 employees, that's it? How is that possible? It's the most efficient company of all time. Yeah, no, there's animal testing. Wow, look at this. Unbelievable. Look at this growth. Okay, so fiscal year for these ends in calendar March. They're on the Japanese fiscal year. Some retail in America still does it this way, but some do January fiscal year even. So revenue growth, it's been incredible. Growth is slowing, hard to tell. It is trading for 6-7 times sales. There's huge kind of marketing expenditures. They don't have any property, plant, and equipment, so somebody else makes all their product. In China or something. 5-year crush, wow. Okay, here's cash flow from operations. This isn't really a cash flow story, I guess. They don't have CapEx, which is pretty cool. Yeah, it's a crazy growth stock. It's not a value stock. It's definitely not a value stock. It's around 30 times adjusted earnings. I'm just trying to adjust this stuff in my head. So you take gross margin. Okay. What's revenue going to be this year? Let's do that, I guess. It's a really competitive space, so I'm not sure there's a lot you can do. Okay, so this is Q1, basically. 6/30/24, whatever fiscal that is. I mean, for a growth stock, ELF looks great. I mean, it's whatever magic they have going on is not going to stop. But the problem is when it does stop, stock gets cut in half, if it ever stops. So you're taking on this big risk. So a lot of it comes down to management. I have no idea who management is. I don't know who management of the other companies in the makeup space are. You know, so there's a lot of like, the numbers don't tell the story as much. So I don't know, how did they start getting this amazing growth in the first place? But you know, a good management team doesn't really care about the stock price, right? They're focused on how to grow their business, not like, oh my God, our stock went down 10%, what do we do? We do not matter to the long-term success of that company. Anybody who's too focused on their stock prices. So it's almost a good thing that they're not like panicking, rushing around, issuing statements, going to Wall Street, being like, no, everything's all good. They're just like, yeah, whatever. I think that's a good sign more than a bad sign. But it doesn't help our trade. This is an incredible company. Yeah, I like this elf.